Hey everyone, my name is Catherine. I'm a licensed associate counselor currently in the state of New Jersey. I had this idea. I've dabbled, in Instagram and TikTok, albeit unsuccessfully. The following is abysmal, but I had this idea that, I really like to talk about things, and the real purpose of creating any content for me has been for the point of being able to have conversation, to get knowledge out there, just to talk about things. And I thought, why not try something like a podcast where I can kind of just talk about, whatever I want and put it out there. And if someone sees it, that's great. If no one sees it, that's fine. It's still there. It's something that I've done that, I wanted to do. And I thought, what better time than now to just go for that and see what it becomes. And if it becomes nothing, it's nothing. And if it becomes something, that's great. But yeah, I am in my mid to late 20s. Again, I'm from New Jersey. I am a licensed therapist. I have a bachelor's degree, which I obtained from Rutgers, and I have a master's degree in mental health counseling, which I obtained from Rowan University in 2020. So I'm pretty new. Honestly, being just straightforward about those things, I'm technically a very young, new counselor. I have about 4 to 5 years of experience in the mental health field. But yeah, I'm definitely not as seasoned as other people. I don't want to claim to be. I got my start in an agency. I've worked mainly at this time in what's called intensive outpatient level of care, partial hospitalization level of care. It's kind of like a step up from seeing a therapist one-on-one every week, and a step below, like going to an inpatient, where you're 24/7, in somewhere under care, receiving treatment. So it's kind of like that middle ground where maybe you need a little bit more intensive treatment than just seeing someone once a week, but, it's not intensive enough to where you have to be somewhere all day long, every day. And it's given me so much insight already as a young therapist. I think that agency work can be so important early in your career to develop a more well-rounded skill set and just, to build up your skills and your knowledge. I mean, in an agency, I've worked with so many different people, from interns, first starting out, to counselors that have been there for a year, counselors that have been in the field for 5 to 10 to 15 years, psychiatrists, all types of people. And I think that has been so helpful to me, of like learning about other people, what works for other people, how people do certain things. It's just increased my skill set to have so much exposure to other people, and not just me and a supervisor, but just learning more that way. And that's been huge for me. One of the big reasons that I do like, what I'm currently doing. And also just a very diverse population of people. So in this job, I've worked with, in some capacity, I'm not saying I've counseled or provided therapy to all of these people per se, but with children, I would say as young as 10, up to adults, anywhere into, I don't know what the oldest has been, maybe 70, maybe at maximum. But I've worked with men, women, LGBTQ population, people culturally diverse, all different ethnicities, backgrounds. The list goes on. I've worked with so many different people, and I think it's also helped me figure out, and again, it's still early in my career, so I don't want to make, statements for sure for the future, but it's really helped me kind of figure out what I'm best at, and what I really, feel comfortable and confident doing. And I think I found my passion in adults, and I think it's specifically looking at adults that have co-occurring diagnoses. So what that means is I specialize, in working with mental health diagnoses and substance use diagnoses, which nowadays, and in college, I had a professor that ran my group therapy class. He told us that you have to work with co-occurring because a lot of people are co-occurring, and I think that that's true. I think many people have not only something like anxiety, but they also have a substance use issue like alcohol or marijuana or opiates or something else. And yeah, I've loved that. I think that originally I didn't think that would be something I would enjoy. Nothing, about the population specifically, but I think that when I first got into this, my thought was like, I want to work with mental health. And I didn't think about substance, that just seemed like something so different to me. And just in my personal life, my experience with family and friends and what I've seen with substance use, I don't think that I gravitated to it, just because of, experience and those kind of things. But when I tried it in the agency, because I was fortunate enough to intern where I work, but, before I got a job there, I moved around between programs a lot. I worked with children and strictly did that, and then I worked with adults that were mental health primary or only and did that, and then I got pushed into doing some substance and mental health, and that's where I felt the strongest and where I enjoyed the most, really. But I think it's just been so helpful in, helping me kind of figure out as an early therapist and grow my skills and all of those things. And again, I think that a lot of people are afraid to work with dual diagnoses, co-occurring diagnoses where you have mental health and substance use going on. I think we all could probably agree that there's still a large stigma out there. To be honest with you, amongst, people in the professional field of mental health counseling or counseling in general, I think plenty of people are afraid of it or don't have enough knowledge in it, and it's just wonderful to, serve that population that needs people that know what's going on, know what they're talking about, to be there and to fill that role. So yeah, that's kind of essentially what I do. Again, working in an agency has tons of upsides. If you're someone that's new to the field or not sure what to do next, but I think agency work can be a really great place to start in terms of getting a lot of different experiences, learning from other people, accruing your hours towards your full licensure quicker, So, for instance, I have an LAC, I'm an associate counselor, I'm still technically in that supervisory period where I report to somebody. And in New Jersey, I feel like it's 4,500 hours. It's very close to that if it's not. And I feel like here I'm able to get that much quicker than if I was to go directly into private practice, take, let's just pretend 12 clients a week. That's not as many hours that you're clocking in towards your license. So, there's positives to this. And there's also downsides like any other job. An agency can be limiting. It can be limiting in a lot of ways. And I think that just pay is disproportionate in general for therapists that provide, such an important service, really. The pay it's not wonderful, for someone with a master's degree that's providing a behavioral health service, but that's not to say that that's at my job only. I think that's most places in the field anyway. So that is a technical downfall. And I think, too, it can be limiting in that it's great to work with other people, and it's great to have an agency to help oversee things and supervisors to, do all these things with you, but I think it can be limiting then in, some of your autonomy, feeling like maybe you don't always have the say in who you see or what the outcome is. And again, that has downsides, but it also has, upsides to that in that, I shouldn't be doing all these things alone. I should be consulting and collaborating with peers, and my way is not always correct, or, things can be different. So I guess I could probably argue all of my own downsides that I have. But yeah, I think agency work is a really great starting place, and you don't have to end up there. You could always, gain that experience, take that once you get fully licensed or whatever, and go into private practice or whatever you want to do, but there's positives to it. So yeah, that's kind of what I do in terms of, my work and a little bit of that. I run a lot of group therapy, again, in agencies. You'll probably find a lot of that, I would assume, especially like if you're doing an IOP or a PHP level of care. That's kind of what surrounds it. And group therapy is great. I think, a lot of therapists go in and they want to do individual, and that's also incredible, but group therapy is such a different thing than individual. And it's funny because I think I've worked on developing group therapy skills so much that sometimes when I'm doing I call them check-ins, because a real individual to me is like 45, 55 minutes. We're doing all of the therapeutic work there, whereas at my job, it's mainly group-based. And then we check in for 20 to 30 minutes and do some individual things or, talk about things, but it's not the same. But I do feel like, right now I'm not as developed in the individual sense because I'm so group-oriented. But group therapy, so many benefits to that, so many different opportunities, I always tell the clients that are in the group that I can be up there as the therapist and I can teach them skills or I can tell them my thoughts on X, Y, or Z, but the thing about group therapy and a good group leader knows how to, make it that the group is what is the therapeutic process for the person. It's not the one-on-one between what I say and what the person takes in, but it's what you get from the interactions with everybody in the group. It's what you learn in that setting from other people. And I find that, often the people in the group take so much more from the other people in the group that's valuable to them. They respond much better to it. They relate to it more. They take it as, something worth meaning to them because they feel so connected and the input is coming from their peers. And I think that that's important. I don't see myself, and I hope most therapists don't, as, like the knower of all that some person should do, or obviously we should not be giving advice, and I don't do that either, but, I think that you can gain so much from the people around you. And I think that that's the beautiful part of group therapy, is that a good facilitator or group leader knows that and tries to make that happen in the group. You try and get the people to feel connected and to learn from each other and to relate to each other and to pick up those things. And another thing I tell the group as well is, that the group is a really good place to practice what we're learning, to put into practice assertive communication or boundaries or, whatever it is. But a lot of the time, who we really are plays out in the group. The characteristics that make up who we are and the things that we might struggle with, we might also see that reflect directly in the group. So it's a really good way to kind of practice, implementing what we learn and all of those things. And it's very interesting. To me anyway, it's interesting. But yeah, group has been phenomenal. It's a lot of, psychoeducation, so teaching people things, which I think is one of the first steps of getting better, or, maybe not getting better, but making progress, or, achieving growth or gaining more insight of what exactly am I feeling, what is this, what's going on, and what are some ways that I can work on that. And psychoeducation is a great way to do that, of like coping skills and, education about meetings or certain mental health diagnoses or medication options or whatever it is, but giving ourselves a knowledge of what is this, what are the skills, how can I practice them, those kind of things. So maybe it doesn't go as deep, obviously, as like working individually one-on-one with somebody to actually, dive deeper into you specifically and these things going on, but it gives you a nice firm base of like, where am I at? What am I noticing? What skills are out there to help me to calm myself or to regulate or tolerate better, whatever it is. I feel like you get that in group, and that's so important, is that educational component. So again, lots of benefits to that. And of course, we do what we call process. So we have, a group where it's kind of just, how are things going? Is something bothering you? People can openly share about things, get feedback, those kind of things. But yeah, it's very psychoeducational based. And in the agency that I'm at too, we have psychiatrists on site for people. So medication can be started, those things explored. It's a really, really good outlet for a lot of people that are, appropriate for that. So yeah, I feel like I wanted to start this just on, kind of about me and where I'm at and, who I am, without, I guess, getting too personal. But I feel like that's an important place to start of, who am I to say anything about anything? And again, I'm just a therapist. There's many of us. My opinion or what I say is not necessarily correct or the right way or whatever it is, and anything I ever say is never, to be taken as therapy or professional advice. It's kind of just me talking, just saying kind of whatever comes to mind. But, I don't know, I'm eager, to try this out, see how it goes, talk about more things. I really don't know exactly what. I'm assuming just going through my thoughts on things, or I don't know. We'll see kind of how it goes, but yeah, that's pretty much where I'm at. Nothing too special that I can think of to really bring up otherwise. Again, I'm from New Jersey. Only been in the field in total for about 4 to 5 years. Working towards my LPC, my full license. Lots of agency experience. Primarily, that's the only thing that I've experienced. Yeah. So I'm really looking forward to doing these, seeing, if anyone listens to them, enjoys them, feel free. I'm trying to think of how YouTube and all these things work, but commenting things that you'd be interested in, whether it's getting into this field or about this field, or if it's, topics to just explore, that would be great too. But if you guys have any thoughts ever of what you would want to hear about, those kind of things, I would love that. That would be great. And otherwise, if no one ever listens, this is great for me to just look back on, and I can see it as another one of my attempts at, trying to get information out there and where it's gone, which I told you guys a little bit earlier. Unfortunately, I don't know how to build social media, so it's not my thing. And it's funny because I'm in that age group of people on social media, but I cannot compete. I don't know how to get those things started. Instagram has never worked. TikTok is not working very well. If you're interested, the TikTok is co-occurring therapist, COURRING therapist. Yeah, I think it's because you'll notice it here, not putting my face on things, and I guess maybe not feeling as relatable and posting this, very interesting content is probably what's hurting it. But I don't know, it's just not what I want to do. I don't want to post content to just I don't know, get views or to follow all the trends, or I don't know, whatever it is. I'd rather, if anyone's going to hear it, if it's 2 people, if it's nobody, I'd just rather it be me. It doesn't matter really who I am other than what I guess say on here, being a therapist. But I'd rather it just be for the fact of that you're getting something from it. Anything. I don't know. Whatever it is. And I remember when I got my first follower on TikTok, I took a picture of it because I was excited about it. But the person had commented, on a video. I don't remember the specifics of what they said, but kind of just saying that they were grateful to find the page and how it resonated with them and all those things. And that was it for me. That is why I do it, in hopes that, maybe something I say can be of value to somebody else. And I think about, how a lot of people don't have access to a therapist or mental health services, whether it be financially or that they're, a young person that maybe they can't access those things, family things, culturally, whatever it is. But I don't know, it means something to me to be able to maybe reach people that don't have the same resources as other people. So that's why I'm doing this. That's really the passion. And, I'm a very passionate person about therapy and about what I do and about other people, and I don't know, trying to put things out there for others. I think that a lot of the time, and it's great. I'm not knocking content that, is trendy or that, it interests people, and that's wonderful that people like those things and follow those things and get something from it, but I just wanted to do something different. I don't know, just to be educational and informative and helpful to somebody is the real goal for me. So that's kind of my thought, on all of that. Just trying to be authentic and putting stuff out there for other people. So yeah, that's basically it. This one's pretty short. I have no idea how long these things will be, and how long they will go on. I guess we'll see, but it'll kind of just depend, I guess, on that day and where I go and talking to myself of how far that can go. I appreciate if you did listen. That's incredible. I'm happy that you're here. I hope that I can be of, some value to you. And if it's not for you, completely understand that. Again, give me a like, a follow, leave a comment if there's anything that interests you. And I guess I will see you whenever I post another podcast. Take care, everyone.